It's a good day to be blue! Yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're feeling well. Like me, Chelsea beating champions Liverpool last night at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Good vibes all round, despite being decimated by injury. And in a weird way, we're welcoming the international break because of that. But welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's been said about Chelsea, giving you my thoughts on it, for whatever that's worth. More importantly, as always, asking for yours. In today's video, we'll be discussing this long injury list when players are going to come back. Maresca's red card, so he won't be around for the Nottingham Forest game. The importance of Romeo Lavia. We did forget about the young man because he's always injured, but he could be transformative, and I did reference this in my match review, but I want to show you some of his numbers and talk about this player a little bit more. And some transfer news. That's right, silly season might be a little far away, but they're already talking about certain players coming and going. Maignan, though, January isn't far away. Could we bring in the big French goalkeeper? That would be a welcome addition in my opinion. And yes, funny that one of our superstars are being linked with a move away. Real Madrid, oh, they want Enzo Fernandez. But now apparently they want Moises Caicedo. Yeah, I bet you do, mate. So we can have a little laugh about that as well. Guys, strap yourselves in. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember that you are all, of course, welcome. So if you like the content, do consider subscribing, dropping a like on the video. That's really welcome, and I'm thankful for all your continued support. Before we jump into the good, juicy content, take a second and listen to this. It's that time again! A big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Listen to me, it's really time you finally get that VPN. For some reason, VPNs are very popular all of a sudden. And for good reason, and I'm gonna tell you why. VPNs work by changing your internet's location elsewhere, which offers you protection and unlocks entertainment. Surfshark has so many available different servers in so many different countries. Truly an abundance of choice. Global news would have taught you that internet security is more important than ever. Massive companies are getting hacked with details being leaked. And the digital pirates are all over the gaff, and it's important you keep yourself protected, and fortunately Surfshark offers you that protection, friend. So feel warm and safe in private, and know you are browsing in private because it's so important, privacy these days, and we're losing our privacy. Surfshark can bring that back. So you got the security, but you've also got the freedom to browse. That's right, when you use Surfshark and move to a different country's location digitally, new realms of entertainment is unlocked. Loads of different streaming services will now offer you their content because they think you're in the country that's allowed to watch that content. It really is a must-have in the modern age when feeling safe and watching what you want on the internet. Now, here's the even better part. Because you're a viewer of my channel, you can enjoy this incredible promotion. When you go to surfshark.com/football, you can enjoy 4 months free. That's right, use my code FOOTBALL on Surfshark, or go to surfshark.com/football to utilize this offer. Get 4 months free. I will drop a link in the description, so do go check it out. Go and get yourself that VPN. It's time. Peace. Right then, where to start? Well, let's get some of the negative stuff out of the way then first. Take a look at this graphic from Sky Sports showing the unavailable players for Enzo Maresca's Chelsea at the moment. Right, lots. As you can see, Trevoh Chalobah was suspended. Of course, he could return for Nottingham Forest, so these 10 players can immediately become 9. Now, Andre Santos is unavailable due to a knock, hopefully not too serious. He, like Wes Fofana, Tosin, says Cole Palmer could be available in October. Now, who's the most important out of those, man? You'd have to say Cole Palmer. That's provided he actually does return in October. He was holding his groin in the celebrations, actually, so I do worry about his long-term availability and the healing of that groin issue. In terms of November returnees, Liam Delap and Dario Isugo could come back in. Both really important. Liam Delap, I actually think, at the moment starts for Chelsea, because that would make Joao Pedro better. That would make people people like Palmer and Steval better. We need that big force up top, in my opinion. And of course, Dario Asugo, just to give the best central defensive midfielder in the world some rest. Benoit Badiashile looked really good yesterday. Shame he went out. Similarly with Joshua Champong, I think that might have been cramped, so I can imagine that Joshua Champong will return quickly. And of course, Colwill, we won't see for a long time. These are really high-profile, important players. Maybe this is in the wake of the Club World Cup, but it shouldn't be for a lot of the players. Of course, Dario Asugo was injured on international break. People like Benoit Badiashile should be okay. Wesley Fofana should be okay. And we're going to speak about Lavia in just a moment, but I think Fofana could also be transformative for this team. I know, I get a lot of stick on this channel for being a bit of a Fofana superfan, but I also have been saying for a long time how important Romeo Lavia could be to the balance of Enzo Maresca's Chelsea, and I think slowly we are getting more believers in that cause. Lots of players out, really frustrating, but to be honest, for the first time in a long time, I welcome an international break. We're leaving on a high, 3 points at home against Liverpool, which is great. That's really good vibes. And it finally gives us time. I say finally, we've just had an international break, but it comes at a good time to rest these vital players. Hopefully we can get a few back. And in the wake of this as well, one player that we've been leaning on heavily, that's been playing 90 minutes, 100 minutes plus, different positions, is Captain Reece James, who's been absolutely formidable and excellent for Chelsea. And of course we'd expect this from the likes of Cucurella on the other side, who's been playing incredibly well. But Reece looked like he was made out of glass for 3 years running, and credit to Chelsea, the medical team, the way Maresca's managed him. We say it quietly, I think we've rebuilt Reece James. He's just a tank, and we're leaning on him heavily, and it's all the other... Maybe we did some sort of juju curse, and it came at the expense of all the other players getting injured, but Reece James is always there. So that's great, and of course he's going to go and play with England now. Alright then, let's move on and speak about some other stuff. No consecutive red card again. I think we had 3 reds in 4 games. Or did we? Yes, that's right, Maresca said, right, I'll do it myself. He got 2 yellows and now he will be unavailable for the Nottingham Forest game. Maybe we'll know by the end of the weekend whether Ange Postecoglou will be sacked or not from their managing Forest, but hopefully we can go to the City ground and he is still in situ, because Chelsea play well against Postecoglou's teams, I guess. Spurs and hopefully Forest as well. Chelsea will be favourites to go and win that game. I hope they don't get someone else in. Well, maybe if they do, they won't have time to make them resolute. But, you can imagine a new manager comes in, does a low blocking counter, and we really struggle with that. So I'm hoping Postecoglou's still there, and Willy Caballero will be on the touchline in the absence of the suspended Enzo Maresca, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can navigate that game and get a big win with some confidence returning after the international break. You've got the likes of Steval scoring his first goal for Chelsea now in the Premier League. Got Lavia coming into the team. We're about to speak about him in just a moment. And the vibes are up generally. Garnacho, I know he hasn't got a goal or assist yet, but he's been playing well. And he's looked pretty bright. He certainly had Conor Bradley on toast yesterday in that game at Stamford Bridge. And actually, guys, a gentle reminder, if you've not watched my match reaction to that game, I'd welcome you to go and watch it because, yeah, it's very high energy, as you'd expect, but I go into detail into the player performances in what was Chelsea's best performance of the season, in my opinion. I know it's early doors still, but yeah, it's very positive indeed. Right then, let's speak about that beautiful Belgian boy, Romeo Lavia. Now, Lavia is a unique player. I've been saying it for a long time. He's unlike any other of our midfielders. You've got Enzo Fernandez, who's evolved, should I say, into this sort of attacking number 8 in the left pocket who can crash the box. He presses incredibly well, Enzo Fernandez. He's very good at that. Not that he's very fast, but his just work rate is incredible. He gets goals, he gets assists. Great. That's the sort of midfielder he's evolved into. Caicedo does it all. Alan Shearer said on Match of the Day he had a little bit of Frank Lampard and a little bit of N'Golo Kante in that performance against Liverpool, which is the ultimate midfielder. Combining those 2 players, forget about it. You're not getting a better player than that. Santos is interesting. He's a little bit of a hybrid in terms of he'll score goals, but he can be a central defensive midfielder. But Lavia is the glue. He is the stitching. He is, like I said in my match review, and like I've said for a very long time now here on the channel, he's kind of like a sort of Mateo Kovacic profiling, amazing line splitting passes, probably better than Kovacic, but a ball carrier, a progressor, a press resistant player that can take the ball in the half turn, move his body really well, and navigate out of really tricky situations. His dribbling is very, very good, but his passing is on point. He's metronomic. He's not like a Jorginho who stays anchored in the midfield and, you know, passes round like a regista or, you know, a metronome, a playmaker or whatever. He moves around, but he progresses the ball incredibly well. I said it in yesterday's match review, I'm going to repeat it here today on Chelsea News. When Cole Palmer was asked who's the most underrated footballer, he said Romeo Lavia. Lots of footballers say this guy's different gravy granules, mate, and he could be transformative. In terms of his player strengths, check out these metrics on FBref. As you can see, he's incredibly good at some defensive work. He's in the 99th percentile for passes blocked. So he's not just a progressor, a ball player, a dribbler. He will stop the opposition and get in the way so he can turn defense into attack very quickly. His pass completion for long is very, very strong as well. So it's not just tiki-taka, really close, short passing. It's really good. He never miscontrols the ball, only 0.47 times per game, which puts him in an elite category. And then look, passing's really high, pass percentage is over 91% on average per 90. His interceptions is also in the 96th percentile. This is a midfielder who defends well, who passes incredibly well, and can dribble well as well. Again, interceptions very high, pass completion medium very high, and then his successful take-ons is still in the top 6% for midfielders in Europe. Other really, really strong stats there, as you can see. So he's a very, very interesting midfielder. He's not going to get you loads of goals or assists. He might not even like screen the back four and defend. So for like, you know, the basic casual, you might look at it and go, you know, we need an attacking midfielder that's, you know, really defensive sort of stopper, like a blocker. Do you know what I mean? But he's a sort of kind of a bit more nuanced than that. And actually, these kind of players make you tick. When Maresca first arrived at Chelsea, he said two players that he didn't have that can make his football better: Fofana and Lavia. Of course, Fofana's come in a little bit, still looked a bit shaky after his injury. We're hoping he can return to the form that he had at, you know, Leicester, that made him a very expensive central defender. Like, he's a very unique player in my view. But with Chelsea and Maresca's Chelsea that have the ball a lot, that want to play in a certain way, that really want to optimise certain players like Cole Palmer, that player behind him, Romeo Lavia, genuinely can be transformative, and you need to find a way to accommodate him. You just simply do. Maybe you don't, you know, invert one of your fullbacks or whatever. I don't know. You find a way. You play a 4-3-3 maybe, you play Cole Palmer as a sort of right winger that comes inside, or Estevao, or if you do play a 4-2-3-1, you play Caicedo, you play him next to Lavia, and in the odd game you drop Enzo Fernandez, you rotate them in and out. I know you've got to be careful with Lavia, he can't suddenly just become a 90-minute starter every game, but he's such a welcome re-addition into the team, and I wanted to spend a couple of minutes speaking about that. Right then, let's speak about some transfer rumours. It's that part of the video. First of all, caught offside. Just as Moises Caicedo wins man of the match and scores a goal at Lazio, there's talks about Real Madrid wanting him. Real Madrid also want Enzo Fernandez, and he's been incessantly linked to them for the last 2 years. Yes, they want to rebuild their midfield after, you know, losing Casemiro, Kroos and Modric, and they look at the Chelsea midfielders in Fernandez and Caicedo and they go, yes please, we want them. I don't think you got the money, Real Madrid. You're more interested in free transfers like, you know, your Trents, your Rudigers, sadly for us, you know, your Mbappes, and indeed others. But for a little bit of a laugh, let's see what Caught Offside are saying. Real Madrid have quietly added Moises Caicedo to the list of midfielders they are monitoring as they plan for a rebuild of their midfield. Sources close to the agents industry have informed Caught Offside. The club sees the Ecuadorian as a powerful ball-winning midfielder who could fit in perfectly next to Jude Bellingham. Yeah, I bet. It's fun playing Football Manager in your brain when you're like, oh, I want that one, I want that one. Now look, if there's any club in the world who literally do just say, I want you and pluck them from your team, it of course is Real Madrid. But they've been doing this for Enzo Fernandez for a while now. Enzo, of course, could be kind of like a Modric replacement. He does give Galactico Enzo Fernandez, doesn't he? Like his look, his style, his passion, his tenacity, his S-housery as well. He'd fit Real Madrid very well. But I don't want him to go. I want him to stay at Chelsea. He's our vice captain. His numbers are very good. He's getting better and better and better. By the time he's 30, I think he would have had an illustrious career with Chelsea. Maybe there's a price for Enzo Fernandez if Real Madrid come and wave some silly amount in front of Chelsea. Maybe they sell him. And I only say that because the way Enzo Fernandez plays in this Chelsea team now, he's more of an advanced midfielder that plays in the pocket. You know, Chelsea will look at Andre Santos thinking he can do that. Chelsea will look at, you know, Cole Palmer that can come inside and do that. Other attacking players, they'll maybe back themselves. But he's sort of always been on the bridge in terms of the untouchables. Now, the untouchables contain Cole Palmer, probably Stevao, the way they see him in the future, Levi Colwill, and Moises Caicedo, and of course the likes of Reece James. Cucurella probably until he's not that, you know, maybe if he drops off and he's like 28, 29, they might consider selling him, but yeah, Cucurella at the moment. Moises Caicedo was in the top two. He is very young still. He's younger than Fernandez, I think. There is no chance. Now, these stories always come out, and I believe them. I believe that Real Madrid want Fernandez and Caicedo. I don't think they're fake stories, but there's no way. I don't think these players want to leave. They feel that they're growing in the team. You know, South American players love the Club World Cup. For all these, like, you know, European fans that want to take the mickey out of it, South American is just very, very serious. It's a big, big moment. And they will see really positive development. They will see the players they're playing with, you know, playing with like Cole and now Estevao and, you know, Joao Pedro's dropped off, but loads of young talent around them, and they will feel this is going well. This is going really, really well. Even if Real Madrid's the ultimate dream for all these players, we've got the cautionary tale of Eden Hazard at Chelsea. Doesn't always work out, especially when things are going well. You know, and it does seem like the mood's up. Fernandez celebrates all the time, kissing the badge, you know, Caicedo pointing to the Chelsea badge. We also know that Caicedo is somewhat of a Chelsea fan as well. Of course, when we signed him, there was that picture of him when he was very young wearing a Chelsea shirt. So there's links there as well. They're not going anywhere. They can do on me. Right, let's move on from that and talk a little bit about Maignan. Right, so this is a story coming from footballtransfers.com, referencing the fact how journalist Matteo Moretto has spoken about Maignan to Chelsea in January is more than possible. Now, for me, this would still represent a really important and good signing. I am not in the business of pointlessly, you know, doing any hate on Rob Sanchez, especially after a win against Liverpool, where I don't think he did anything wrong at all. I'm very mindful to praise him when he does stuff well. Do you know what I mean? So he has done some great stuff in goal for Chelsea, Rob Sanchez. His passing stats are good, his saving stats are good. But for me, it's about character now. A developing squad with a good mentality and characteristics that we know are good long-term that we've evaluated. With Rob Sanchez, he's a known quantity for me. Do you know what I mean? I know exactly what he can and can't do, and we will not win the biggest honours with him in goal. I mean, even in that Liverpool game, he did one pass straight to an opposition. I know he played a good ball in for Garnacho as well. But ultimately, I'm very, very concerned in terms of our long-term top success. I don't see him in goal. So look, I would return for Maignan in January. I think would know by then in terms of returning players if Cole Palmer's fully fit. I'm not suggesting we bring in any backup or additional backup for Palmer because we're congested there. But other, you know, important players, the centre-back situation, maybe at that point, Maresca can say to the sporting directors, I wanted a centre-back in summer. You didn't let me have him. Look what's happened to all our centre-backs. You know, go and get me a centre-back. Maybe there's still a chance we can convince Mark Guehi that Chelsea's the place to be over Liverpool. Liverpool have lost 3 games in a row. If they keep falling down, maybe by January we can say, come home, bro. Don't go there. Liverpool have got one of the oldest teams in the league that are descending into chaos. We're just coming into like our power, you know, in the next few years. You can be a leader, you can be part of that. Come to Chelsea. We'll see what happens. Apparently there is January money reserves, but if there is, And, you know, if Mike Maignan, I know he's agreed terms with Chelsea, if Milan think that we can't convince him to extend, you know, Allegri simply cannot do it. Maybe they were banking on him convincing Mike to change his mind. If he says in January, nope, he's of course allowed to sign a pre-agreement with his next club, which hopefully would be Chelsea, and they can't stop him. And then at that point, if he signs a pre-agreement with Chelsea to join us on a free in the summer, Milan, who will want the money, you know, there's not that much money in Serie A at the moment in Italy, they'll go, right, well, okay, screw it, 10 million, 15 million, he'll have to go now, because we can't turn down millions of pounds, basically. Yeah, so I could see it happening, and to be honest, personally, I would thoroughly welcome Mike Maignan to Chelsea in January, personally. Right, guys, let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comments section below. As always, thank you so much for joining me here on Football Therapy. Very, very grateful to have you guys hang out with me. If you yet to get a VPN, I do recommend Surfshark. I use it every day. It's very important in the modern age, so do click the link in the description or use my code FOOTBALL when you sign up to Surfshark for additional 4 months free. What a great deal! Alright mate, take care of yourselves, enjoy the football, if there is any. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.